BaconBit.
You seemed ready for that one, Joel. Not chewing anything, are you?
Totally ready. You guys talk.
We'll just talk while you eat your candy. Hey, welcome to this week's Bacon Bit. It's going to be kind of an interesting one at the insistence of one Jake over here.
He begged us. He begged us to do this.
I kind of did. Well, I mean, I don't know if I begged.
And really, I feel like you should wait for a full episode on this one because what he's about to do is he's about to share his knowledge and love for a Netflix original series. Is that correct, or has it been on a...
I haven't done the research on that. Okay, I think it might have been BBC first, actually.
Oh, okay. But you know how Netflix claims British shows as Netflix originals?
Orange is the New Black.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you're going to share all about Outlander today, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
A lot of people would be appreciative if you reviewed Outlander.
I did see the pilot of Outlander
set the stage
years ago.
I just want to set the stage.
Sure, let's hear this.
He's done chewing, so he's ready.
Joel's back on, everybody.
We will come here to the Bacon Cave and we'll sit down and we'll be talking about whatever and discussing what we want to do with the show, figuring out how we want to set things up. And then Jacob down nowhere will just be like, "Hey guys, have you seen this new show on Netflix?
Netflix.
I've watched the entire thing. Have you watched it yet? Have you watched the entire thing?
Whose voice is that?
Because I've watched the entire thing. You should watch it." And I'm like, "I haven't even heard of this show." And he's like,
"It's really every wearing an ascot, by the way.
Every week, it's a new show. Every week he's like, 'Have you heard of this show? I watched the entire thing.'"
Yes.
By the way, I have no time for anything except for watching Netflix.
Have you seen Altered Carbon season 4? I think they've only had one season. I've
watched the whole thing.
Yes.
The whole thing.
And anytime you speak, an ascot just appears.
Yeah.
Which is just about Netflix shows. You wouldn't think it'd be that prestigious, but here we are.
But here we are. Exactly.
Yeah, so
I
Jake,
hold great power that way.
We've done this kind of show before, but they've been full episodes where we've really been missionaries for particular programs.
I believe you had the first one.
Yes, with Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Yes. Joel, you had the second one.
Mystery Science Theater.
And then I took Supernatural last year.
And so you're out of order, sir.
I am out of order. But this is a Bacon Bit, so the no rules apply.
Yes.
Well, and the other thing is, so just to set the stage here, once again, is that Jacob has watched the whole thing. Ken has watched
not very much.
2 episodes.
Yeah, 2.5 episodes.
I have no concept of this show. Like, I've heard of it.
This is actually a good setup.
I've heard of it only because Jacob brings it up every other week.
He's never really told you to watch it. I think he recommends it to me.
No, it's you two. You guys think like, have you watched Last Kingdom yet, Kent? I've watched the whole thing.
I recommend it to you as well. Yeah, I don't if I ever said that once.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
So Jacob, please tell us.
I feel like I'm chewing on like a Snickers bar when I say that.
It's a sour
like I take like a bite. I'm like, have you tried it? I've watched the whole thing.
See, it sounds exactly like you.
It's spot on.
The whole
so have
Snickers
we said the
bar.
name of the title?
We haven't. No.
What is the show?
It is The Last Kingdom.
Okay.
Which I always get confused with Kingdom of Heaven.
Right.
Like, honestly...
Or
those
Parts
two
of Atlantis.
Yes, that was the whole thing. But I'm dead serious. Every time you talk about Last Kingdom, I picture Orlando Bloom on the front cover swinging a sword. Because I've also never seen Kingdom of Heaven.
By the way, listener,
what?
And
you
Joel,
know this, and you said you have to watch the director's cut.
I am so upset at you right now.
My director's cut is in my room right now.
The director's cut is excellent.
Is it on Clear Play?
It's director's cut, and
that doesn't make it not in Clear Play.
Hey, Joel, it doesn't matter because Eva Green is in it.
Yeah,
it does matter if Eva Green is in it. And I would ask you guys if
don't tell your wife.
There is some passionate kissing with her and Orlando Bloom, so you might want to edit that.
But Kent is a little desensitized when it comes to content.
Passionate kissing without clothes.
And so
also that.
Family friendly.
She blows out the candle first.
Yeah,
family friendly.
There's lighting. You can't really see what's going on.
Family friendly.
But you can imagine it.
Tier 1.
Are you trying to pitch this show to me? Are you trying to get me to watch this show?
Okay, we need to talk about this is Bacon Bit Kingdom.
Last Kingdom.
Oh, sorry, The Last Kingdom.
Yes. Kingdom Hearts.
So here's the premise. The Last Kingdom, right? This is set in 9th century England, and there's kingdoms everywhere. England is not a country yet, and there's
so this is based on actual history.
This is a historical recreation, and
so
it actually has a lot of accuracy,
with obviously some creative liberties.
Of course,
totally.
There's fictional characters, obviously, but they bring.
I'm just wondering on a scale from like Braveheart fiction to like Game of Thrones historical fiction.
This is Braveheart side.
Okay.
For sure. In fact, I would say that's almost exactly where
And by that you mean it's not totally true, but it's based on events and limericks and whatnot.
Exactly. Okay. And of course, how much do we really know from the 9th century?
Totally.
Right?
Okay, so keep going because I need to know what this is about.
Let me get back to the premise.
I've read about the whole thing.
I've read the whole thing. So where was I at? Oh, right. So there's a bunch of kingdoms scattered throughout England, and the Danes, who are the Vikings, have been invading. And
Dogs,
they're,
right?
And they're the what?
The Great Danes.
They're great, those Danes.
Yeah.
The Great Danes.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Great Danes have come in. That sounds funny. So the Danes are crazy, wild, and the British people at that time are called the Saxons. And so they're
Family friendly.
they're what?
Eva Green's there.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
we're good.
Eva Green's
We're
there.
good.
Passionate kissing.
And
No, stop it.
You went there.
with Orlando Bloom.
What is going on? Wait, Orlando Bloom is not in this, though.
No,
No.
you don't know anybody in this. Really.
Yes, you do. You know the new Mr. Darcy. He's at the intro of this. Yeah, the new one. The guy that was
don't know the-
replacement Mr. Darcy in the 2006 Pride and Prejudice.
Who is he in Last Kingdom?
He's the dad, the original dad. He's
this
the
guy on the cover here. Oh no, never mind. In the
Okay,
whole
hold on.
thumbnail,
I haven't got through the
We're getting
premise
so
yet.
lost.
I have not gotten to the premise.
Who plays Gaston in the live action? Who's
Oh,
Dracula?
Luke Evans. It is not Luke Evans.
It looks like Luke Evans
But
in
it's
the
not.
thumbnail.
It's
but I
not.
opened up, it's
No.
not him.
It looks like Luke Evans' son is what it looks like. So
Luke
okay.
Evanson?
There it is. Yeah, that's a very appropriate reference.
What's
Actually,
the show about?
you guys just can't let me go on. Here we go.
a history lesson. So the Danes.
This is not a history lesson. This is a premise for the movie.
It's a
The
history
show.
lesson.
I'll say this. I've seen the first episode.
Oh, no, stop.
Because Joel will
Both of
not.
you- both of you
Joel's
stop.
not going to interrupt me. He'll only interrupt you.
No,
You
I'll
know
interrupt
this.
you too. Jacob, please continue. The
All right.
Danes are attacking the Saxons.
The Danes are attacking all the Saxons, and they're killing off kingdom by kingdom until it gets down to Wessex. Now, Wessex has their
You
king.
didn't family friendly that.
Their king is
I was busy adjusting my microphone cable.
the kingdom of Wessex is Alfred, known as Alfred the Great. Now, he is the one that turns the whole thing around
Do you know which
historically.
Alfred was really great? Alfred Pennyworth.
Pennyworth.
I know, Pennywise. He's so much better.
No,
What
don't.
Alfred is that?
It's Alfred Pennyworth.
Well, Joel doesn't know because he got the name wrong.
I did because I was thinking of clowns.
Jake, tell us more
wrong
about
with
this
you?
show.
Alfred the Great, who
Okay,
butlered for
Alfred-
Bruce the Dark Knight.
No. So Alfred is the famous king. He's considered one of the best kings England's ever had mostly because of these acts
That's
of
why he
pushing
was
the
in
Danes
the.
out.
That's why he was in the gutter because that's where the Bat Cave is. It's underground. So Alfred Pennywise was like,
yeah, exactly. The whole
Georgie,
circus washed down the drain.
come down here to the Bat
Sorry,
Cave.
you guys might have ADHD or something. We might need to have some sort of like clinical evaluation.
All right,
to
I'm
check
so
you guys
sorry.
out.
I will interrupt you for the rest of your description of the show.
Penalty box.
description's over.
3 minutes.
Go.
I'm done. That was the whole pitch. No. Okay, so that actually concludes the pitch. So it's down to the last kingdom, and that's hence the name of the show.
Wait, what's down to the last kingdom?
If you were listening, you would know.
No, you said
The kingdom
You
of-
said okay. Let me recap what Jacob said. There's a bunch of different kingdoms in England called the Saxons. The
Right.
Danes from Daneland are coming over to attack them, and then there's Alfred. That's the whole plot. That's all you.
No,
is the
I have
king.
said more than that, and you have not heard it.
What was the Alfred part?
So if they get down to the last kingdom, which is the kingdom of Wessex, because Kent said,
Wait, who
"Aren't you
gets
going
down to them? The Danes.
The Danes, they've killed
everyone
That's
else.
what I said. Yeah, they've taken out all the other kingdom to get
Just
down.
like Pennywise killed almost all the kids.
hey,
Yeah,
hey,
until-
you're in the 3-minute timer box or whatever.
You're right.
So the Danes have killed all the other kingdoms and it gets down to Wessex. That's the premise of the show.
Okay, so it's like a final showdown,
Right.
A
Right.
tower defense.
But
show.
this is actually
Kind of,
this is
actually.
what's going on politically and historically. This isn't our story. Actually follows this kid who's raised as a Saxon
by
and-
Alfred the Butler.
No, Joel, you're in timeout still, and it
Am I?
continues.
Oh, I still got one more minute.
Yeah.
I'm being good.
So Kent, you're being really good.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to give you a
folding my
sucker after
arms.
this.
Thank you.
So yes, so this kid who's
What you should have done, Jacob, is give me like a sour candy, and I wouldn't have talked for the whole thing. No, not one of those. I need a green one.
Are you going to go get one?
I'm gonna
Kent?
get one.
Okay, you go get one.
This is a bacon bit. This isn't a bacon bit.
It'll work. So what happens is this is kind of funny. I kind of want one, but I can't chew and talk. Okay, where was I at? Okay, so
Ken,
it follows.
Ken and I are literally eating candy, so we shop now.
This is good.
we
This
can't
is
know
good.
how you talk with
All
your
right, this is
mouth.
good. So it follows this kid, and his name's Uhtred, and that's one of the things I'll get to about the show in just a second about the names because the names are crazy. So this kid he's grown up Christian, right? They got the remnants of the old Roman society, so Christianity is the main thing, and the kid grows up and his dad gets killed in a fight with the Vikings, and he's kidnapped and taken by the Vikings, and he's raised as a Dane. Mostly as a slave servant. Now, over a bunch of time, he finally warms them up and becomes kind of like family until that dad is also killed. And then he's sort of a man without a people because he's a Dane at heart, but he's a Saxon by birth. And that is the origin of our hero.
So he knows where he came from.
Yeah.
He wasn't too young when he was
he was probably like 8 or something.
8 or 10. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so...
Where did Danes come from?
Daneland. Yeah.
That's not right.
No, Denmark.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, that's the origin of the Danes. So they come in. That's the origin of the story. Now it's based on the Bernard Cornwell's The Saxon Stories novels, a set of novels. I think there's 10 of them or so far. And what they do for The Last Kingdom is they make 2 novels for every season or series in this case. And
they're writing novels that they then make into a series, or
No,
taking a series and turn them into novels.
No. They were already novels, and they're being adapted to the screen. And they're using two novels for every series, which is a season.
So this is similar to Game of Thrones.
Yes, and yeah,
in that
for
way,
sure,
that they're trying to-
No, there's actually a lot of parallels to Game of Thrones. If you were to look up reviews on The Last Kingdom, the first thing you're going to find is references to this is the Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones isn't on, basically.
I would say this is the Game of Thrones for...
He's still going, I need another candy.
I think it's the Game of Thrones for Joel Hiltons of the world, honestly, because it's pretty clean. It's naturally clean, even though there is violence.
TVMA.
It is very violent. In fact, I tried to find.
I think you can handle it. No.
I think you're desensitized.
No. Joel, you know what's in Game of Thrones. This show,
I do, and Clay knows it too.
Has none of the excess of
That's true.
of nudity,
But
essentially.
does it have dragons?
No. This is real historical fiction, and so everything that happens is real. One of the things that differs, actually there's several things where it kind of aligns and yet differs with Game of Thrones is even though it is a very bloody affair, this show, people die. In fact, that's what I was going to say is I want to find some stats because I think by the 3rd season, we actually lose more main characters in The Last Kingdom than maybe you do in Game of Thrones. People are dying.
Well, here's what I noticed from the first 2 episodes is because, like, you kind of gave the pilot description.
I did, yeah.
And so it seems like there wasn't the attachment to characters that when they actually killed them, you don't care as much because you spent 1 episode with them.
In the pilot, that's the case.
And so then you follow this kid, and that I did not get past that point of how much you would care about him and his adventure from that point on.
The thing that happened with me watching this show, and this is really good for you to know, listener, is I watched it sort of passively. Like, this is okay. Yeah, this is all right. I keep watching.
Watch the whole thing.
And I'm not going to like write home about this or anything, but I kept...
You tell us every week.
I kept watching, right?
Yeah.
And then by the end of season 1, I was like, I really want to see season 2. And by the end of season 2, there are only 8 episodes for each of these series.
How many seasons are there?
3. And there's 10 in the 3rd. And when I got through with the second one, I was like, I love this show. I love this show.
Wait,
Tier 1?
It's tier 1. It is tier 1 show.
No way.
It is.
Is this all on Netflix?
Yeah. It's also on VidAngel.
An hour-long episodes?
Yeah.
Because it's, from what I saw, it seems like microwave Game of Thrones.
Dude, it develops and these characters.
That's a good band.
Game of Thrones wasn't even out yet. We were so ahead of the
That's
curve.
probably where they got it from, honestly, was
Yeah.
your band. Yeah. No, the characters in this show, they develop and they become rich and alive, and you get to know them, and then they die, and it just sticks with you. This show sticks with me like nothing else.
You don't like Game of Thrones, Jacob.
I don't.
So I'm intrigued why you like this one so much and not Game of Thrones.
There's several reasons.
How many episodes of Game of Thrones did you end up watching?
I watched season 1, and I've also read some descriptions to kind of keep
You
up.
watched
So I know.
all of season 1? Uh-huh. You really did?
Yeah.
Pinky swear you did.
Pinky swear, man.
I want to see the pinky
Till
swear.
the head came
I wanna
off.
see the-
I watched that show.
I want to see the pinky swear.
All right, there it is.
The head coming off isn't the end of the first season.
I know, but that's kind of a pinnacle moment.
Wow, and you still were not into it at all.
No, here's why. No, I don't want to make this about a Game of Thrones. I do. So the reason
another candy.
that the show differs for me is, and again, I don't want to get into a Game of Thrones discussion, but for me, the storylines for Game of Thrones became a cycle of predictability for me because I knew that kind of like the same sense you get going to a Marvel movie, the stakes are not high because you know the good guy's going to win. You know what's going to happen.
He just compared Game of Thrones to a Marvel movie.
No, I didn't compare it. I said I was contrasting it to a Marvel movie. The reason that
You didn't get to season 3.
The reason that is that I do kind of compare though is because there's an expectation of death from everyone, no matter what, which I know is the point of the show
And the point of life.
and not the point of life.
Kind of.
For me,
We all die.
No, we're not all fighting
All men
for
must
some
die.
vain, stupid
Father Margolis.
ambition that doesn't lead anywhere. And it's just characters you get to know and they die. And good or bad is not rewarded. There's no sort of justice system at all. It's all just anybody. So the reason, and I only bring that up again, Kent. I know you're processing because you want to talk about Game of Thrones.
No. The only reason I want to talk about Game of Thrones is because if Game of Thrones isn't on for 2 years, like right now, would this be the next best thing to watch?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, that's what almost everyone
Is it
online
better or
says.
worse than Justified, Jacob?
Oh gosh,
That's in a whole nother show.
it's better than Justified.
Is it better or worse than Supernatural, Jacob?
It's definitely better than Supernatural. Supernatural is just it's a better production. Supernatural is candy.
need candy.
No, but this is what Jacob does, though. Jacob,
It's a better quality.
with all due respect,
Okay.
Jacob is like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
When he
We're eating
finds
candy right now.
Yeah. When he finds something new, he's very excited about it, and it becomes the best thing ever.
No,
You need to give
I
it-
have strong
you need to
staples
give
that
it
stick around.
The
But you
new
need to give it
hotness, if you
time.
will.
Yeah.
Ask me if it's
like-
better than Luther.
This is my new favorite thing now. That's what you say. And then a little while down the road, it'll be like, not that anymore.
That has never happened.
Is it better than Luther?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. No, I love Luther too much. Luther's really good. And it's very close with Justified, but Justified does
Watched
get
one
watered
episode of
down.
Luther?
Justified
Okay.
has 6 or 7 seasons and it does get watered down and they have to have there's more episodes of that. This is so compact. They're picking 2 novels and they're squeezing it into 8 episodes. Like these story arcs are huge. And here's the other thing is it feels at first I was like, man, this is like low budget stuff that's going on here. And what happens really quickly is you realize that it's actually spot on. They are imitating life in the 9th century. Like kings and stuff
But how
have
much do we
like
know about 9th
dirt
century,
floors. A lot as far as the way they live and things like that. Yeah.
Jacob, I'm looking at the cast list here,
Okay.
and it features some of my favorites. Alexander Drummond, Ian Hart, David Dawson, Eliza Butterworth, Harry McIntyre, Arnis Feder. I don't know any of these
Do you
people.
know any of
I don't
these
know any of
people?
these people, Jacob.
No,
Well, Joel, you're focusing on the wrong part.
No.
The part you should focus on is the character name.
That's what I'm going to do. No, I actually have that pulled up, Kent. But because I don't think unless you can pronounce them, then go ahead.
I would rather hear you because whenever you try to say a name, it's the best.
It is the best. Hold
Yes.
on, let me grab it again. Oh man, there it is. Okay. So here's one of the things that makes the show weird, and it actually turned me off a little bit at first. Is they're using 9th century language, and so there's no
Wait, what?
there's no cursing.
I like that.
There's only what there is there's 9th century cursing. So they say like arse, and they say like
H-U-M-P.
and they say instead of the F word. That's what we have.
Spell that. Thank you, Ken, for spelling that.
So no, they use
My
these
kids can read now.
Oh no. So yeah, they use all these old words, which is a little bit strange at first, and then their names. Oh my gosh.
It's not that old. Digital Underground used it
Did they?
with the Humpty Dance.
The Humpty Dance. Okay.
The H-U-M-P-T-Y
Yeah.
dance.
No, because then it's about Humpty Dumpty. You say Humpty Dance.
But Joel, you will like this, and we'll divert onto that for just a second because there's not going to be any language that you're going to have to worry about,
Okay.
and there's nothing explicit or like overtly sexual about the show. There's a couple brief moments, but it's more like
So it's just TVM because of violence?
Alluded.
yes. Some of it is a little bit like graphic's not the right word because it's not explicit, but the violence is 5 out of 5 violence. Like anything that can happen will happen. It is
I'm
bloody.
pulling up the parents' guide here.
My favorite place to go.
So listen to
A
these.
naked man is shown lying on a horse face down.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, good heavens.
What? I got real excited.
I know. I can't say
You
that.
guys, oh.
You're just making things up now.
No, I'm not.
You can't read this stuff?
There's more sex nudity than you guys have let on.
There's not
There's toplessness, multiple scenes.
not frontal. If there is, maybe from the back.
back toplessness.
Yeah.
It says nothing too bad.
I'm just looking through this right here, and it's going to need some editing.
It says only her back is visible.
Yeah. See.
A lot of
Are
people
you
from
looking at the same parents'
behind.
guide I am?
Yes, I am.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, I see one.
Yeah.
But most of it's from behind. Most of it is obscured and from behind.
This is not normally what we talk about. So compared to Game of Thrones, this is basically Ghostbusters. Okay,
It really is.
compared to that. So okay. Let me get to these names. So here's the character names because they're using these old Saxon names. So Uhtred, Beoka, Alfred. Of course, that's King Alfred. Ellsworth, Elswith, and this is a running trend. Is the AE names? Ethelwold. Cetric, Breda, Stiapa, Ethelfled, Finnan, Hasting, Aldhelm, and Ethelred. right?
I don't remember
Ragnar,
any of these.
Tira, Ada. Like, these are the names. Those
Ada
are the
the
names.
Elder.
Ada the Elder, yeah. So those are the names you hear all the time. And to be honest, it does get kind of confusing because they're not, a lot of them sound kind of familiar. But it adds to the authenticity of the show, which works for me.
Is the writing good enough to make you care about these characters? Because in a lot of these fantasy stories, you are introduced to about 30 people with names like this.
There's something called Bloodhair.
Like,
Yep.
you won't remember these people.
He's in season 3.
Maybe until the end of season 1. Is the writing enough to make you care about these low characters that, like Aldheim, for example? Will you ever care about Aldheim?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure you will. And there are characters that you'll grow to just really appreciate. And they're really rich characters. They're very, very good characters.
Well, they're kings.
And, well, just one of them is. And actually, excellent performance by, I can't remember his
Play on the
name.
word, they're rich characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll go back to eating my
Can't
candy.
gotcha.
So here's my question for you.
Okay.
Because I feel like you're kind of pitching this to everybody because it's the Christmas season and everyone's going to have a little bit of time off and probably a little bit of time to binge watch something.
Yeah.
Something they haven't seen before. Does this feel right? Other than the fact that there is a little bit of risque stuff, does this feel right to binge watch and just enjoy in that way?
Let me give you a really strong caveat, listener, right now. This will wrench at the heartstrings a bit, and it's brutal. You will see so many people die, and characters you know, characters you don't, ways you didn't expect, and
So it's like season 1 of Baconsale.
and it honestly feels more like real war and war at that time. In fact, this is going to be really embarrassing, but I'll tell you guys since it is. So I told my sister about this show and said, you got to watch this. So she got into it, and she actually got anxiety over the show. She got through season 1, and she was like, and I couldn't sleep. And I started season 2, and I have to take a break because it's sticking with me so much that I had to stop. And she told my mom about that. And my mom, not knowing exactly what she was getting into, thought she would try the show.
Yeah.
Now, it is, like I said, a bloody affair.
Because when Jacob goes home, he's like, have you seen these 27 Netflix shows I've seen since the last time I was here?
I've seen them all.
I've seen them all.
Just so you know, listener, I do not watch that much Netflix.
Thing.
And anyway, so my mom has watched it. And even though she's like, oh my gosh, I can hardly watch it, but I can't stop. And so out of nowhere, I'm actually having conversations with my mom about this show, which I never, ever, ever expected to happen.
Especially
But
some of these things I'm reading.
she likes it. She likes the show.
Okay.
And
if anyone listened to the mom show,
and if you want, that was my mom, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, listeners, so if you go into this show, this is not a relaxing show. This is not a casual show. This is not a popcorn
is
show.
this a fall asleep to show?
this a background
Definitely
show?
not. No, you cannot make it a background show. You need to pay attention. You probably even want subtitles on.
I always do.
If you want to make
same
sure
way.
you don't miss
We're
things.
old.
The writing is
Because my kid's room is right next to
Yeah,
the TV. I
right.
can't turn it up loud.
the writing is great. I dare you to watch this show, finish the first season, and tell me if you don't like it, because you will.
Do you double dog dare?
I double dog dare. Yes. But end of season 2 is actually where it got me. And I'm trying so hard not to give spoilers to talk about the reasons I love this show, but it's all about characters. And
to be honest,
yeah.
Jake, you did recommend this one to me about 4 months ago, and the only reason
And then
I
every week
didn't watch
since.
it, well, that too. The only reason I didn't watch more than a few episodes was the Hitchcock challenge came up, and I really wanted to beat Joel. And then
Sorry you lost that.
and then I've been watching movie screeners and whatnot. So this does pique my interest because I want a filler Game of Thrones, and that is why I make reference to that show.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it does, I think, for a lot of people. In fact, let me say this too: as far as the action sequences and the war events, they're really well
So
executed.
even though there's not as much money put on screen, they still use what they have.
man, they use it really well.
Is it Netflix exclusive? Is that where their budget's coming from? Is Netflix?
Yeah.
So Jacob, permission to speak freely?
Yep.
So Jacob approached us with this idea of like, I want to do a BaconBit on Last Kingdom. And Kent and I were like, okay. And I was like,
Okay.
I don't want to sit here and listen to him pitch this show that I'm probably never going to watch, but I have to admit you piqued my interest.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I give you one episode.
Okay, it's a good episode. It's a good pilot. Now, you've already been warned.
Well, I should clarify. Is it like a Lost pilot where I'm going to be drawn right into it, or it's going to take a couple of
No, it'll take a few.
You're going
I'll
to hear
give you-
all the names in the episode, and you're like, I don't know.
Here's
Okay.
what'll turn you off.
I'll give
There's-
you 3.
Okay.
3 is the general
You'll
rule.
get there.
I feel
3 for an hour-long show, 6 for a 20-minute show.
yes.
Yeah. So here's the 3 things that I think turn people off. 1, it looks like the budget's lower than it is because they're trying to recreate that era, and it's a little dark. It's a little grainy.
Even the kingdoms are really dark and like made out of sticks.
It's exactly. And so you're like, oh my gosh, could they not build anything? And then so I even look it up, and I realize that this is all intentional because they're recreating what this was actually like. So when you're watching, think in terms of this is literally as close as they can recreate
I should take it as
this
scripture.
historical events.
Scripture, historical documents.
Exactly.
Written stuff.
Exactly. So
Yes.
the other thing that'll turn people off is the names, and finally is the weird cursing.
Yes.
It's just weird.
I love weird cursing. Why do you think I like Firefly?
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
true.
no, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that might fit right in.
I like natural cursing.
So
You make me feel like a natural cursing.
all right, so that's really all I have to say about it. It's a war epic. Remember that, listener. And if you're into that, if you can stomach that sort of thing, go watch The Last Kingdom on Netflix. There are 3 seasons there right now. The first 2 are only 8 episodes long. The last one's 10. It is picking up steam. It's getting more and more popular all the time. That's why they upped to 10. And season 4, there's already a lot of hype for. So
And there you have it. Jake said tier 1 show.
It is a tier
And
1
we do
show.
not give that lightly.
I do not.
Because honestly, for me,
What else is a
Supernatural
tier 1 show
is not
to you,
a tier
Jacob?
1 show.
What else is a tier 1 show?
Yeah, in your mind, what are some of your favorite tier 1 shows?
Well, we mentioned a couple already.
Right, Luther, for example.
Luther, Justified was probably a tier 1 for me.
'Cause I want people to get a feel of what your taste is.
You didn't really see all of Breaking Bad, I'm assuming.
Yeah, can't help me out. Breaking Bad's still a tier 1 show, though.
It is. I remember and I don't know where you agree on this.
By the way, it did start on BBC America and BBC, and then it moved to Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Black Mirror in that way.
Yeah. But yeah, like for example, like Supernatural, we gave a tier 1 CW show, but a tier 2 any other show.
Yes, that's exactly what that is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let me think.
I mean,
What
you
else
watch
is
a lot of
tier
Netflix
1
shows,
show?
Jake.
You watched the whole thing.
Honestly,
All of
this
them.
actually goes to show right now. I can't think of that many tier 1 shows.
House on the Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting of Hill House. That's probably a tier 1 season.
Well, for me, that's tier 1 Netflix.
Yeah, tier 1 Netflix.
It's like a
tier 1
miniseries.
TV show.
That's it. Might be both. It's definitely tier 1 for that genre.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Last Kingdom. If I were to really like stack them, if I had to do like numerically 1, 2, 3 or whatever, it would be lower tier 1. Like it wouldn't.
Okay.
It would be mid lower, but it's still tier 1. So
Okay.
Mid lower tier 1.
it's still tier 1. It wouldn't. It's not my best show of all time ever or anything like that.
But it's a good watch, especially for
Yeah.
people who are waiting for Game of Thrones to come back on
Yeah.
or may not appreciate all the naughtiness of Game
And
of
you
Thrones.
know what? The other thing too is that nobody knows about this darn show, and it is excellent. It should be getting Emmy nominations.
Jake, you know why Netflix is the worst at promoting their own
They
goods.
are. They
Well,
are.
no, they have too much.
They do.
They have too
They're
much.
throwing so much out that it's like,
So even
how do you know which show to watch?
even their highlighted trailer, which shows that like right when you open Netflix,
I hate that.
will show for a day.
I hate
and
that.
honestly, you can scroll right down.
Autoplay is terrible.
Well, it is terrible, and that's the thing. Or there'll be like a new season's tag on something, and you're like, yeah, but I'm just going to watch The Office again. Netflix is terrible at promoting their own shows.
They are, which is why I have to do this on a BaconBit. So thank you for listening.
Okay.
listener.
Yep. Thanks for listening to this Bacon Bit on Kingdom Hearts. Oh, good heavens.
What? I got real excited.
I know. I can't say
You
that.
guys, oh.